Somebody left a church their grandmother built her whole life inside of, and they never fully told anyone what that cost them. Why so many Black Americans left the Catholic Church and why they're coming back. You didn't just leave a building. You left a smell, incense, and wood polish and something ancient that you can't name, but you still feel. You left a prayer language you didn't choose, but somehow absorbed. You left a grandmother's healing, a mother's rosary, a faith that didn't always see you, but that you still somehow carried in your chest like a stone you didn't know how to put down. And when you left, you told yourself you were fine. You told yourself God understood. Maybe you even told yourself it was the right thing, but here you are, watching this, because something never fully quieted. Something in you is still standing at a door you left years ago. And you don't know if it's weakness that brought you back or something else entirely. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you is going to change how you read every step of that journey. I want to be careful how I start this. This is not a message that comes to accuse you. I am not here to put guilt on top of what you are already carrying. And I am not here to defend an institution before I acknowledge a wound, because there was a wound. And if we are going to talk honestly about why so many Black Americans left the Catholic Church, we have to start there with the wound, and we have to call it what it was. The leaving was real. Reasons were real. And anybody who wants to talk about the return without first sitting in the weight of the leaving is not being honest with the people they are trying to reach. So hear me when I say this. The Black American community did not leave the Catholic Church because they got tired of God. They did not leave because they lost their faith. Many of them left because they walked into buildings that should have felt like home and instead felt like they were being tolerated. They sat in pews where the sermon never once named their struggle. They watched the leadership of the church during the civil rights movement and did not always see the church standing where love demands you stand. They felt the distance, the invisibility, the way you can be present in a room and still not be truly seen. And at some point, for many families, over many generations, that distance became unbearable, and they walked. I need somebody to hear that with the full weight it deserves. You cannot talk someone into returning to a place if you have never acknowledged why they left. And if your theology has no room for honest pain, it does not have enough room for real people. So before I say anything else, you were not wrong to need more than what you were given. You were not spiritually immature because the distance in that room finally got too wide to keep crossing. Real people need more than tolerance. They need belonging. They need to feel that God is speaking to them personally, naming their Tuesday, touching their private grief, reaching into the part of the week that broke them before Sunday even arrived. And if the room you were sitting in could not do that, God is not holding the leaving against you. Let that land. Now let me tell you something else. There was another door, and when they walked through it, something moved. The music hit different. The preacher looked like your grandfather and talked like somebody who had been through something real. There was call and response, somebody shouting back, because the spirit wouldn't let them stay quiet. There were mothers in the corner with fans and conviction and tears because the word found them, armor bearers and prayer warriors, and the kind of worship that did not ask your permission before it got into your chest and rearranged something. And for the first time in a long time, some of those people felt seen, not tolerated. Seen, not cataloged, known. Don't let anybody minimize what that meant. I know a woman, let me tell you about her for a moment, who grew up Catholic every Sunday, candles and rosary and everything her mother taught her. And she loved it. She genuinely loved it. But she got older and started to feel the gap between what the church said it believed and what she actually experienced inside it. Nobody who looked like her was leading anything. The homily never once touched the specific grief of her specific life. And then she found a Black Baptist church on a Wednesday night prayer service that somebody dragged her to almost by accident, and the pastor prayed. The way that man prayed, she told me later, she said it felt like God finally got her number. Like the prayer line connected, she cried the whole service, not from guilt, from recognition, from finally being addressed directly instead of implied. She didn't leave God. She found a room where God was allowed to reach her in the language she needed. God honors hunger. What you were looking for when you left was not wrong, and I tell you that story not to say that one tradition is better. I tell it because hunger is not betrayal. The need to be seen, to belong, to have your specific story held inside of worship, that is not weakness. That is the design of the human soul. The path just had more turns than you expected. But here is where I need to give you something that most people were never given, because the leaving happened for a lot of families without any context. The narrative was simple. The Catholic Church is a European institution. It was imposed. It is not ours. We moved on, and I understand why that narrative felt true. But I want to sit here for a moment and give you back something that belongs to you. Christianity did not begin in Europe. It began in the Middle East, and it spread quickly, deeply, into Africa. Egypt was one of the earliest centers of Christian thought in the entire world. The desert fathers and mothers, the earliest Christian monastics, the people who shaped the whole theology of prayer and contemplation, many of them were African. St. Augustine of Hippo, one of the most influential theologians in the history of the Western Church, was from North Africa. His mother, Monica, was Berber African. St. Moses the Black was an Ethiopian monk in the 4th century whose spiritual intensity became the model for generations of believers. St. Josephine Bakita, a Sudanese woman who was enslaved as a child, became a Catholic nun and was later canonized, a Black woman held up as a saint. I need somebody to hear this who was told that this faith is not theirs. That is a lineage. It is your inheritance. Your ancestors did not simply receive a foreign religion. Some of them kept a faith that was already ancient on the African continent. Some held on to something through the Middle Passage and plantation slavery and the particular cruelty of a church that sometimes preached one gospel on Sunday and looked away from chains on Monday. They held on anyway, not because they were naive, because something in that faith was real enough to be worth surviving inside of, even when the institution failed them. But something settled in the leaving that was not God's voice, even though it felt like it. A verdict formed in the quiet, and it said things like, I'm not really Catholic anymore, so I'm not really anything. I left my grandmother's church while she was still alive, and her eyes said something. Her mouth never did. God understands probably, but he definitely noticed. I've been spiritually homeless for years, and I've been too proud or too hurt or too confused to name it. Somebody watching this right now knows exactly what I'm talking about. Not as a concept, as a lived experience. You have been carrying a quiet guilt that doesn't have a clean name, and you have been reading that guilt as evidence that you made a mistake you cannot undo. Let me tell you what that is. That is the enemy using your displacement as an accusation. He knows that a rootless believer is easier to shake, always. Slightly off balance, slightly more vulnerable, slightly more likely to give up before the breakthrough because they are exhausted from the in-between. He has been using your wandering years as a weapon against you, and today I need to take that weapon out of his hand. Stay with me, because this is the part where most people misread what God was actually doing. I want you to go to the 15th chapter of Luke with me, and I want to find a young man that most people have turned into a cautionary tale. I want to show you something different today. This story is not primarily a story about failure. It is a story about navigation. The son in Luke 15 did not leave because he hated his father. He left because something in him was hungry. He wanted more than what was visible to him in that moment. He was not wrong to want more. He was operating on incomplete information about where more actually lived. And so he left. He took what he had. He went looking, and he came to ruin in the far country. When everything ran out and the hunger got real, the scripture says he came to himself. He woke up inside his own story, and he made a decision to get up and go back. But hear me clearly, because this is where it changes. He rehearsed a speech, a whole, prepared statement. He was ready to negotiate his re-entry because he assumed the Father would need convincing. And while he was still far off, still on the road, still not even in sight of the porch, the Father saw. Let that sit in your spirit. The Father was watching the road, not with a verdict, not with a list, with eyes, watching, hoping. And the moment he saw his child in the distance, he ran, not walked, ran. And everything the Son had rehearsed, every sentence of that prepared speech, suddenly didn't matter anymore. Grace arrived before the explanation. I came to tell somebody today that God has not been standing at the door of your faith with folded arms waiting for your explanation of every denomination you sat in, every Sunday you missed, every question you asked that the institution could not answer. God has been watching the road, and the moment you turned, the moment something in you said, maybe it's time, maybe I'm ready. He didn't wait for you to finish the speech. He started running. Write this down. Speak it out loud. My detour was not a disaster. God was in every room. You did not lose God in the leaving. You searched for him, and searching is still praying. Every Sunday you sat somewhere that felt slightly wrong. Every prayer that rose out of you in a language you learned in a building you left. Every time you crossed yourself when something frightened you and didn't know why your hand still remembered, that was not failure. That was faithfulness, wearing a disguise you didn't recognize. God kept your seat. The journey you have been on was not a detour away from God's plan. Sometimes God lets you go looking so that when you come back, you know what you came back for. Not because someone told you to, not because it's the tradition, but because you have been searching, and now you know in your bones, in your private prayers, in the part of you that still lights a candle. Somewhere, even if only in your mind, you know that what you are looking for has a name, and the name of it is home. Stay with me, because this next part is for the person who wants to come back but doesn't know if there's room. And I came today to tell you there is room. And more than that, the Father is already running. What is happening right now with Black Americans in the Catholic Church is not a small thing. It is not a trend. It is not nostalgia dressed up in religious language. Something real is moving. Something is drawing people back to ancient ground. And if you have felt any part of that pull, even quietly, even in a way you haven't said out loud to anyone, I want you to know you are not alone. And I want you to know it is not an accident. People are coming back, quietly at first, then less quietly. And when you ask them why, underneath the different answers, there is the same hunger. They are tired of a faith that keeps changing to match the culture. They are tired of a church that feels like a motivational seminar with worship music attached. They are tired of sermons that only affirm and never transform, that speak to their comfort and never once touch their cross. They went looking for depth, for rootedness, for something that was true before they were born and will be true after they are gone, for liturgy that has outlasted empires, for a table where something real happens that cannot be manufactured, cannot be replicated, cannot be reduced to aesthetic. The Eucharist is pulling people back. Something the church believes is not merely symbolic that is landing differently. Now, for people who have lived long enough to understand the difference between a symbol and a substance, when everything around you moved, some people went looking for something that stayed. And I understand that deeply, because this is a generation that has watched institutions crumble, marriages dissolve, certainties evaporate, and something in the soul of a people who have survived everything that Black Americans have survived understands maybe more than most the value of something that holds, something forged over centuries and carried through fire. But I know what some of you are feeling right now, because the pull is real, but so is the fear. And I will not pretend the fear is irrational. Maybe it is the fear that nothing has changed, that you will walk back into the same invisibility, that you will be the only Black face in the room again and have to decide all over again whether you are willing to be tolerated in exchange for the table. Maybe it is the fear of what your family will say. You found the Lord in a Baptist church or a Pentecostal church, and your people have been praying for you there, and going back feels like abandoning what God built in you during those years. Maybe it is the fear of what it means spiritually, like re-entering a room that may not have space for all of who you are now, all the questions you've accumulated, all the ways you are not the same person who knelt there the last time. I need you to hear me clearly. Let this reach the part of you that is standing at that door afraid. The father ran, did not wait at the door, ran. He did not stand at the end of the driveway with his arms crossed, waiting to see if the son's posture was humble enough. He did not send a servant out to assess the situation before committing to a welcome. He saw him coming. He recognized something in the silhouette, the walk, the distance, the way the figure was moving, and he did not wait. He gathered his robe and ran. And when he reached him, he threw his arms around him before the boy could get the first sentence out. The son tried. He began his speech. Father, I have sinned against heaven, and against you I am no longer worthy to be called your son. He started it, and the father interrupted him, not with correction, with a robe and a ring and a celebration, because the son came home, and everything else was a detail. Some of you have been rehearsing an explanation for God that he does not need, organizing a spiritual autobiography that justifies every stop you made, every year you spent somewhere else, because you are afraid that without the explanation, the welcome will not be full. But hear this, God is not waiting for your full account of where you have been. He already saw you coming. He already knows the whole road. He is not grading the re-entry. He is celebrating the return. Say this out loud wherever you are. I am not starting over. I am coming home. Because there is a difference between starting over and coming home. Starting over means you build from zero. Coming home means everything that was prepared for you was waiting. And the God who prepared it has not grown impatient. What God has for you is still yours. The seat was held. The table is set. Now let me tell you something about what this tradition actually carries. There is something in the contemplative tradition of Catholic prayer that was built for people who have had to survive. The practice of sitting in silence before God, not performing, not producing, not proving anything, was forged in the desert by people who stripped everything away and found that what remained was real. For people who have had to be strong in public and fall apart in private, who have had to perform wholeness while carrying fractures, nobody could see the invitation into contemplative stillness is not a luxury. It is oxygen. It is the permission to stop performing for God and simply be held by him. There is something in the permanence of the liturgy, the same words, week after week, century after century, that is an anchor for people whose lives have held very little permanence. When the job is uncertain and the relationship is uncertain and the body is uncertain, and there is something profound about a prayer that does not change. Something prayed by your ancestors and prayed right now on the other side of the world. You are not alone when you pray it. You are joining a voice that never stopped. And hear me plainly, there are Black Catholic voices rising right now. Theologians, priests, deacons, communities reclaiming this identity and calling it what it is, theirs. You do not have to figure this out alone. The community is being rebuilt, and you are not too late to be part of it. This is not a white man's religion reclaimed. This is your inheritance recovered. But I want to stop and tell you about somebody, because there is a theological argument I can give you, and then there is a truth that lives below the argument in the place where the soul actually makes its decisions. I need to tell you about a kind of woman. She went to Mass alone. She went every Sunday after her husband left, not because she felt like it, not because the church had been good to her in every season, but because something in her would not let her stop going. She sat in the same pew. She wore the same hat on the first Sunday of the month. She prayed the rosary in a voice so low you almost couldn't hear her, and she called every one of her children's names before God. Every morning before her feet hit the floor, some of those children drifted. Some stopped coming. Some found other churches. Some found the far country. And she knew. Mothers always know. And she didn't rage. She kept calling their names. She kept kneeling. She kept showing up at the same altar with the same petition, year after year, with the faith of someone who understood that prayer does not expire just because the answer has not yet arrived. I need somebody to receive this right now. The prayers that woman prayed over you, those prayers are still standing. They did not dissolve when she died. They did not become void when you left. Her faithfulness is still a covering over your life. There are things God may be doing in your life right now that are the direct answer to prayers she prayed decades ago that you never even knew were being spoken. Let it find you. I want to speak now to the person who is almost ready but not quite, to the one who has been circling this decision for months, maybe years, to the person who already came back and is still standing in the back of the room feeling like a stranger. Belonging is not always felt first. Sometimes it is chosen first, and the feeling follows the choice. You may not feel like you belong the first Sunday back. You may feel awkward and out of step with the rhythms. That is not a sign you made the wrong choice. That is what it feels like to come home after a long time away. You are not a stranger. You are someone who was away and is now returning. Those are not the same thing. Now hear me. The return will be contested. I am not going to tell you that every door will swing open and every face will be warm. The church has not become everything it needs to be. There are still rooms where you will have to decide whether the sacrament is worth the imperfection of the institution that holds it. That is a real question, but the enemy does not want you rooted. A rootless believer is easier to shake. And the warfare you may feel around this decision, the resistance, the doubt, the voices that say you don't really belong there, that warfare is not a sign to stop. It may be a sign that your assignment on the other side of this decision is real enough to be worth opposing. The pressure gets heavier right before the anchor holds. Write that down. You may need it in the weeks ahead. If you are the person who left and never fully made peace with the leaving, receive this. God was with you the whole time, not in spite of the wandering. In it, every room you prayed in mattered. You have not disqualified yourself from coming home. If you are the person standing at the door afraid, receive this. You do not need to have it all figured out before you walk in. You need the same thing the prodigal needed the decision to get. Up and go. The welcome is already waiting. And if you are the person who already came back and still feels like a stranger, receive this. You are not starting over. You are settling in. Give it time, give it prayer, and give God room to do what He could only do after everything that came before it. Declare this with me. Say it out loud. Say it to the doubt that has been following you. The prayers over my life did not expire when I left the building. My detour was not a disaster. God was in every room. I am not starting over. I am coming home. Now let me pray. Father, I am standing in this moment on behalf of every person who found this message today, and that is not an accident. God does not waste a click. He does not waste a search. He does not let things find you by mistake when he is trying to reach you. So Father, I pray right now for the weary, for the one who has been carrying spiritual homelessness like a second skin for so long, they have forgotten what it feels like to belong somewhere. Meet them at the door, the way you met the prodigal, running, not walking, running. I pray for the one carrying guilt, the quiet, nameless guilt of the leaving that never fully formed into words, but never fully went away. Let that guilt be lifted right now. Let them hear you say, I know the whole road, and I have not held it against you. I pray for the one afraid of rejection, the one who has been hurt by the institution and cannot fully separate the institution from the God it is supposed to represent. Give them wisdom to tell the difference. Give them enough grace to step into an imperfect room and find a perfect God waiting inside it. I pray for the Black believer who does not know where they belong, who is too Catholic for some rooms and too Black for others, and has been standing in the hallway of their own faith for years. God, give them a community. Give them a seat that feels like it was made for them. Give them the gift of belonging that does not ask them to leave any part of themselves at the door. I pray for the church, that it will open wide enough for the ones returning, that the people coming back will find more than tolerance, that they will find genuine welcome and genuine space for the full weight of who they are. And I pray for the grandmothers, for the ones whose prayers are still standing even though they are not, for the women who knelt in those pews and called names before God that are watching this video right now. Let those prayers land. Let those seeds come up. Let the faithfulness of the women who held on become the harvest that their children and grandchildren walk into. Lord, meet every person watching this right now. Meet them running. In Jesus' name, amen. You did not leave God, and God never left you. And the door you have been standing outside of, the one you left years ago and have never fully stopped thinking about that door, is still open. It was never locked against you. The Father left it open. He has been watching the road. Don't close this tab just yet. Let it sit. Let God finish what he started in you right now. Don't rush past the thing that just moved in your chest. That is not sentiment. That is the Spirit. And he doesn't knock twice. In the next message, we are going to talk about what it means to stay, how to build a faith that holds when the institution disappoints again, how to be rooted without being rigid, because coming home is one decision, staying is 1,000 small ones. But today, just let this be enough. You found your way back to the road. The Father already saw you coming. He is running.